What's up, guys? Welcome back to All Gains Mindset. We talk about diet, fitness, dating, health, mindset. We're going to go over law number 10 of Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Let's get into it now. Alright, guys, so law number 10 is infection. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. You can die from someone else's misery. Emotional states are infectious as disease. You may feel you are helping the drowning man, but you are only perpetuating your own disaster. The unfortunate sometimes draw misfortune on themselves. They will also draw it upon you. Associate with the happy and the fortunate instead. So basically, guys, avoid unhappy people. Avoid misery, avoid the depressing people. You need to get out of that kind of space, that kind of environment, because that kind of stuff is going to bring you down. If you are the 5 people that you associate with. So if you hang out with 5 losers who are depressed, you're going to be the 6th, right? If you hang out with 5 people who are always complaining about life and they're always down on their luck, they're always trying to figure out things, and they're just very uncomfortable to be around, you're going to be the 6th. You're going to adopt all that energy, and you're going to absorb it into yourself, and you're going to become that person, and you do not want to be that kind of person, especially not what we go through on this channel.
Yeah, so. And like emotions in themselves are infectious, regardless of what state they are, right? Negative emotions like unhappiness and stuff like that are very infectious. Happiness and positivity is also infectious, but you need to understand and see who is unhappy and stuff, and you need to avoid confronting them or avoid being around them, because you don't want that negativity, you don't want that unhappiness, because it will infect you and it will destroy everything.
You don't have to be mean to them either. You don't have to be like, I hate that you're so depressed all the time. I hate you. You don't have to do that. You just distance yourself. You don't have to say why. You don't have to say who, where, what. All you need to do is just be silent about it. Just kind of back away from the unhappy people. If they ask, be like, oh, where have you been? I've just been busy. I've been working on myself. I've been just hustling. Just take it easy. You don't have to be like, oh, you're just depressed. I hate you. I don't want to be around you anymore. You don't have to do that. It's not really necessary. It's stupid. Just distance yourself slowly, back away, and work on yourself.
Exactly. And so, some history here about this lesson. Now, it's very long. So let's get into this as quickly as we can. Lola Montez. Lola Montez is a woman. She was a dancer. And she was, I think, from England. And she, married a guy from England, but left England. And so she went to France to try to build her career. And she's, because her career was starting to dwindle in England, so she moved to try to find a better place. So she's not really the happiest of people. And she was having the same issue in France. But she found out about this guy who owns this newspaper, the biggest newspaper distributor in France, and ended up finding him and wanting to, start a relationship with him to get her more exposure to, become more successful. And so, they got together, and he ended up pretty much giving up his social standing with the newspaper people and pretty much all of France by doing this. And he, married her, even though she's actually still married. She's technically still married to somebody in England, but she married someone in France. And he ended up, his fortune that he had started to dwindle and decline, and the respect that he had as a newspaper distributor went down as well. And his life pretty much started falling apart, and he lost in a duel. And so she left, because there was nothing really else for her to do. So she went, now she's going to Munich. And in Munich, she tried seducing the king to get her dancing stuff to go. And there was I think in part of the story, she fell off a horse or something, and either she did it by herself or or it was actually an accident. But her dress was all torn up, and it pretty much was showing her breasts. So they were like, let's get her to talk to the king. Let's have the king talk to her or whatever. And pretty much she got her way in there, and she ended up becoming the king's mistress. And then she eventually inserted herself into politics. Now, mind you, this king was very respected by his people. His people loved him, right? And she's this girl who's not really the happiest of people, who's not having the greatest of times, coming in. Now she's a mistress to this king. And now she's inserting herself into politics with the king, and everyone is confused and really mad because he's letting her do all this stuff, which then led to a whole bunch of rage, and she ended up getting herself thrown out and paid off of the country, which then led to the decline in ratings of the king. The king was not favored anymore, and it's very upsetting for that. So with that, she went back to England, and she married another man, young army, I guess a veteran at that point. He was out of the army, and they were not having the best of times. She ended up slashing him with a knife, not killing him, of course, but they were just not happy together, and he ended up actually getting removed from the army. He ended up getting ostracized, and he eventually died like 2 years later. So she left England and then moved to California. See what happens when you're unhappy and you go from place to place? You literally start destroying people's lives everywhere. She goes to California, has another relationship with somebody, not great at all. She ends up, that guy ends up dying, and then she turns to God. Ooh, she turns to God.
No, I'm sure, right? She had 35.
No, like 40. She was 40 when this happened, because then 3 years later she ends up dying at 43.
Not good.
No.
You don't want to associate with people that will bring you down. It's gonna literally cause a path to destruction for yourself. You need to avoid those kind of people, and you want to go hang out with people who will bring you up and really make you laugh and have that really positive energy. Like, if you go hang out with Mike and I, we go to the bar, I'm going to do some crazy stuff, some fun stuff, we're going to have a great time. And Mike's going to laugh at me, and you guys can laugh at me too when I do my cool stuff. Like, if you hang out with people who have that high energy, just like generally happy, we're happy because we're always out doing stuff, we're always hanging out with our friends, we're getting exercise, we're feeling good, we're looking good, we're feeling super sexy every single day. And we have family and friends, we have a good social circle, and we live the life the way we want. We do this YouTube channel, we do all these kind of things. So we're happy people. So if someone that we don't know comes and starts hanging out with us, they're going to start being more happy, they're going to start they're going to be brought up, and they're going to have that more positive energy compared if you hang out with the guy who just sits on the corner and just cries all the time. You're just going to crying, bad example, who cares? But you get the point. You want to associate with people who demonstrate that high energy, happy-go-lucky personality, and in return, they'll give you that high energy personality as well, and it'll benefit you in many ways in life.
Yeah, and the thing is that there's a big danger when it comes to the infection, right? At first, you might not know that you might be dealing with someone like Lola Montez at first, and you might be enthralled and you want to be friends with them or be with them or something. But then after a while you start seeing that everything is falling apart, and it's already too late at that point. Sometimes you gotta really look for those cues that they're an unhappy person or something. You don't want to get yourself involved in those situations. Granted, people are unlucky. There's homeless people everywhere. The homeless rate in the entire world has risen, especially now, especially after COVID. These people are very unhappy, these people are very unlucky, misfortunate, but you can't try to go and just help them, even though it sounds kind of bad. You don't want to just go out and make your life be about, going to each homeless person and trying to help them, because you're just hurting yourself. You got to do something to benefit them, externally, as a third party. You don't want to just help them by hand. You want to help them externally through, your actions somewhere else.
Yeah, you have to be very careful about who you associate with and how they affect your life and how they bring benefit to you and how you can use the opportunism to your advantage. But you don't want to hang out with the bad people. Very important lesson, because some guys, many people in general, they feel bad for letting certain people go because of connections that they've had in the past and the good times. But in reality, if you try to maintain a friendship or a lover or a family member that will bring you down in general, throughout your life, sometimes you have to make the hard decision of backing away, because it's just going to take you down too. It's going to send you down a dark road that you don't want to go on.
You're going down a path I can't follow.
It's not worth it, because eventually it's going to catch up to you, and it's going to cause some severe consequences if you let it. Be aware. I think this is a very, very important law to be aware of, which is why it's a little bit longer than the other ones. This one is, I think, very crucial. There's no reversal to this. You must avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. It's very crucial that you associate yourselves with the winners, okay? Very important. You want to be surrounded by high energy, positive, go-lucky thinkers.
Exactly. You don't want You don't want any of the negativity. You're only searching for positivity because positivity will boost you higher than you already were.
Life's too short to be surrounded by negative influences. You don't need it. You don't want it. Don't be fooling yourself out here. Associate with the fun people. So, with that said, if you guys like this kind of content, like the video, make sure you hit the like button and also comment below for the algorithm. You can join our All Games Mindset Facebook group. That's on Facebook. Link in the description below. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.